You just witnessed it, so yes,
Oh my God. Thank you all for rejoining us or joining us. This is Michelle Ray, and we're here with Marlena and Out Your Day Mind. And we're talking about writing and Substack and things that there's my dogs kicking me out.
Michelle's having already an amazing morning, if you guys haven't realized.
Yes. Okay. And there, yeah. So we're talking about writing and Substack and just, how sometimes you said something earlier actually before we came on. You said Substack sometimes gives you the ick.
And I haven't been quiet about it either.
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious that I've definitely made comments and people are still like, subscribe to me and like me. But also I think what I've appreciated more is the people that are like, oh my God, me too. Like,
Yeah.
I'm glad that you've said it. Um, Chief Absurdist said it's not even retrograde season yet. I know. Imagine when it is. But yeah, so it is a little validating to know that I'm not the only one that feels that way. But I've been open, and I'll continue to be open about when I'm somebody that's going through a very healing journey of my life, and I have openly shared a lot of what has happened to me in the last year and a half, but also what has happened to me in the past. I've been open about my own addictions and my own failed running away to Florida and then came back to New York at my own, failed engagement and stuff, losing all of my dogs that I grew up with. It's been a lot. So as I've learned more about myself and I've learned this word boundaries, it has just really felt like the platform itself is expects so much robotic and performance that it has given me an ick to not want to continue to be a part of it. And it doesn't mean that I don't absolutely love and appreciate every freaking human on in this space. It just means that the platform itself gives me the same ickiness that TikTok and Instagram and other platforms give me, in a social media aspect, because it's not fair to expect a human being to spend 24/7 engaging, promoting, and writing in the way that this platform appreciates. Like, I go a week or two without writing anything. I publish something. It's not going to get the same amount of views that it once did it when I was on this thing 24/7. So
Yes, absolutely. And I think every, well, I won't say every, but I think many Substack people, writers, whatever, at some point in time kind of have their come to, Jesus or whoever moment, where they're like, oh, Substack is social media. I didn't think, it was, but it actually is. And there's not necessarily anything wrong with that, but I just think you have to be realistic about what Substack is. Like you said, what your boundaries are, realistically, how much time you can spend on it, and is it worth your time? Like, how much time is it worth putting forth? Because some people are really like trying to make their living on this platform, and for them, it's like maybe they're getting something more out of it in that way. And the monetization, that's like a whole nother conversation we could have, I guess. But um,
yeah,
I
Stripe
want,
isn't fun.
yeah. I mean, this is what I've noticed with Substack that if you like when you get a paid subscriber, you could like will shoot to the top of the board of the what do you call it, the rising list. And yeah, just for like one or two paid subscribers, because of course, I mean, it makes sense. They want, it's a business. They want their cut, and that that makes sense. But I think it is for people who are sort of naive and just come on and think like, oh, I can just share my writing in this beautiful community. While both those things are true, there is also another element that people should be realistic about, and be ready to confront and like figure out if what they really want to put forth, like what how much energy. But I wanted to go back to something you said about like you've shared a lot of vulnerable things, and you came on this platform not as a writer at all, like just coming from the the retail world and business and managerial. And what would you say like you have really learned through this process of, particularly about yourself, because you have shared a lot? What have you learned, and what do you hope people have learned about you, about themselves through your writing? Either
Well,
one.
I feel like the word that just popped in my head was resilience, and I think people sometimes wear that as a badge of honor, but I think it sometimes sucks to be it, you know? Um, I think I've learned a lot about my ability to learn and evolve and grow, and I always used words to communicate, but really understanding kind of the ebbs and flows of evolving my writing, so it isn't just a whole bunch of me talking, because that's what I was mostly known for, is that I wrote like I spoke. So it's still kind of writing like I'm speaking, but in a more professional type of way, and I think that that is a testament to who's around me and who I've read, and the quality of work on the platform, that I wanted to continue to improve the way that I put words out there. You know,
Mhm.
it wasn't no longer just a diary and I could just, word vomit everywhere, or like it felt like a Facebook post. It was like, no, this is like I have a story that I want to share, mostly a reflection that I want to share in a way that deserves a middle, a beginning, middle, and end, and they're a full arc, and that people can really take a journey with me. So, I think what I've learned about myself is that I've always been resilient, and while I am proud to be, I don't think I wear that as a badge of honor, and that the surrounding people, the community on Substack has really elevated my level of work, because I don't ever want to have like bad quality shit. You know, when I cringe every time I read something that I first published, like when I first started, I'm like, oh, this wasn't organized. This wasn't, this was just word vomit on a screen. Like I can't believe anybody liked it, but people did, and I think people did because they understood and resonated what was being said. I just kind of tweaked how I presented it, and that is a testament to all the amazing writers on here that I've learned from.
Mhm. Yeah, so you've learned like how to more like more to structured level of communication, maybe more polishing, or the value of polishing your writing.
Well, yeah, because like I said, I think even when I read back something that I first published on this, I'm a little, oh my God. Like, I wish I would have done things a little bit differently, but in all fairness, that version of me had no idea. And
Yeah,
because of all of the reading that I have done on this platform, and looking how other people are presenting their publications, and the way that they have kind of organized it, motivated me to kind of spend more time really learning the art better, tweaking it better. Again, it's I'm self-taught based off of what I've seen,
yeah,
if that makes sense. So
yeah,
I learn by what I see, and I try to keep my voice genuine in all of it, authentic in it all, and not some just copy paste type of thing. I've been inspired by people like yourself and others and their stories, and it's just like, how do I continue to present it in a way that will be a little bit more sophisticated and to a level that I want to be at.
yeah. No, that's great. I think I've I felt that to an extent as well, because I mean, I do identify as a writer, and I'm getting an MFA, and I've written a book, and I think, but Substack has taught me something very specific. It's really taught me about how people respond to my writing. And like what is seems to get more is more resonant than other things, and keeping in mind, like the whole metrics and all of that, I do kind of keep that in mind. But at the same time, it's all like really instant kind of feedback. Because think about, like you mentioned, writers a long time ago, like before there was social media, that there was a real the difference between writing and publishing. I mean, writers wrote and they gave it to their editor, and and then as soon as it was out in the world, they moved on. They weren't sitting around waiting for all
Right.
the feedback. And so I think, while there are more opportunities for writers to get feedback, it's not always a good thing. But I wanted to share Beautifully Broken's comment, because I think this is a good point. I like to share my recovery journey. I don't offer anything paid or buy me a coffee. For me, it's just another social media. I totally agree. But this is a good point that Beautifully Broken makes. And I think this brings up the idea of witnessing, right? There are a lot of people that are on this platform just to be witnessed, right? And to share their perspective. And I think that, to me, that's something different than just like seeking attention or whatever. So what do you think about that idea of like witnessing versus, seeking validation?
Well, one, I am a huge fan of Beautifully Broken. I adore her very much. And I think as a fellow addict, it's not easy to share the lows that you get to a high, right? So I have tons of respect for her, and I think specifically for her, it's been witnessing has been very powerful in her own healing journey. And I think it always helps somebody when other people can be like, "Oh, I've been there too." Like you don't always feel as bad about the things that you've done because somebody else is telling you, "Well, you're not the only one, my friend. We've all had these interesting things." So I think it's a beautiful thing for somebody to open up and be vulnerable and allow witnessing to happen. I'm a huge fan of what she does and what anybody does that is not seeking monetization, but just wanting to share what they've been through. And I'm assuming it's because she hopes that somebody else who's in a low right now can read it and see that you can recover, you can choose differently. Support is a huge part of the platform, but also in a recovery aspect of it. So I have nothing but respect for people that are openly vulnerable and sharing their story, not to make a buck, but to just be witnessed. And I think some of my favorite writers are definitely humans that do not have monetization on Substack at all, and are just saying what they feel or what they've been through or sharing their stories and stuff. And yeah, I think witnessing is a huge part of society, not even just like Substack, just that doesn't get enough understanding or attention of how important it is to somebody. Like to be witnessed by somebody also can heal a heart pretty quickly.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I think people don't always understand it. I think, especially when it's an online platform, because I think it's easy to be misunderstood. It's like, oh, you're just showing your, bleeding on the page or whatever. But there is a very big difference, somebody's intention for sharing, um, and the reason and the level of emotion behind it is really, it's often very different and obvious when it's a witnessing kind of
Right. As a
motivation.
as a before as a opposed to a performance, like I'm gonna talk about this horrible thing that happened to me because I know I'm going to, like, you can definitely read and sense the difference between writers that are being, genuine about what they're sharing and why they're sharing it, to other ones that are like, "Oh no, I know the story will help me and push me further along." Like I feel like I could tell the difference when I read something like that.
Yeah. Oh, for
I'm
sure.
not calling anybody out. I'm just saying in general, like, no shots fired here. I'm just saying in general,
Yeah.
like I do feel like, because I mean, I'm definitely somebody that in a conversation I can kind of tell if somebody's comfortable enough to talk with me, or if they're hiding something or they don't really want. So I think if that's a quality that I have within myself, I can definitely tell it on the page. And I'm definitely somebody who writes, and some of my posts are like, I won't post it unless I cry. Like, unless it makes me cry, I'm not posting it. I've openly talked about that. So it's like, I want that emotion for the reader to feel. And that's why I want to get there as I'm writing it, so that the reader feels it. So I think I can definitely read emotion through what is being shared and why it's being shared.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And I think, you know, there is a line, right? Like, I agree. Like, I want people to sense my writing and know that it's deep, or it's in, they think this is worth reading. So I think in order to do that, you do have to make it like a little clickable, right? Like, you're not just gonna like post any old title or whatever. So, there's, I think to an extent we're all kind of performing a little bit, but not it, when you get to the gratuitous level, that's when I think it's so obvious, right? Like, you're just shouting out into like whoever will hear, about your whatever trauma, and like trauma porn or whatever it is. And I think, we all know the difference between that, and it irritates me when I see it, because a lot of times it is like, even when people know that it's performative, it still gets attention. So it's, it is what it is. But
I mean, it is one of those, like, does that say more about the writer or society? Like,
yeah.
like, because I mean, if you take writing out of the picture, you turn on television. most things streaming is not real, right? Like it's performative. People right now are getting stuck on Love Island. My sister was watching it yesterday, and I'm like listening to. I'm not even watching. I'm listening to it because I happen to be eating at her dining room table, and I'm just like, oh my god, the dramatics between the music and what you know each other for 3 days, but like, but for some reason, people love messy, so people
Yes.
provide messy. So doesn't that say something about us as a collective? Like, why do we like messy?
No, that's a great, that's a whole other
Like,
conversation. That's a
well,
great
but I'm
point.
saying with that, but that's the
Yeah.
same thing with the writing platform. Is like, regardless of whether we believe the intention behind the why it was written or shared, people love the messy stories. So
No,
as long as you can share the messy story, people are gonna like it. You know?
yeah, no, I agree, and I didn't mean to say we can't talk about it because I think it's human
No,
nature,
no.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like the idea of the rubbernecking when you pass by a car accident. Like we're just naturally like curious and nosy, and we want to know everyone's business, and especially when it's juicy business.
Right. Yeah.
I I have gotten really into the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders Netflix show.
Yeah, they have a lot of drama too, my friend.
Yeah, and it's the drama. Like, I'm not even a cheerleader. I'm just never a cheerleader. I don't care about football. I don't care about the Dallas Cowboys. But it's like the drama and the relationships and all of that. It's just like the insider, right? It's the
Mhm.
insider moment that we're in there, like in the locker room, hearing the girls so yeah, people we're just a bunch of nosy. I don't know.
Fun fact if humans didn't know. This is how we are apparently, but I think it's created by a bigger monster that we won't get into in this conversation. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was fun.
Well, I don't know. We can get into it. I'm like thinking about what our next question is. What's the difference between having followers and having? Well, that's a good one. What's the difference between having followers and having a writing community? And this is good for me because I have really been trying, the past couple months to whip up this story space writing community, and people are trickling in. It's like I'm not even trying to get paid subscribers because most of the story space is free.
Right.
Um, it's just getting people to pay attention and join, like because there's just so many flashy signs on stuff Substack, right?
I mean, but
So
then it's everywhere. It's not even Substack, right? So we
yeah,
talk
you're right.
about but any social media, I sometimes I get on my TikTok because I promote podcast clips on there. So for my clips to get any attention, I have to spend some type of time on that platform as well. And I will like literally go like the videos are the platform is like for so limited, like you only need 2 seconds, I'm not interested, like, and you're just flicking, right? So it is really hard to grab somebody's attention. I think creating spaces like your story space it might feel difficult because it's you're asking humans to do everything that they've been trained since 2020 not to do, and that
Yeah,
is to connect and be more intimate in a smaller setting where we have been kind of trained and taught distance is safe, like,
yeah.
go over there, like, we were literally 6 feet apart, and, like, I think it just has been difficult for the world as a whole to kind of move back into a space before COVID, like, remember what life was like before COVID? You remember when you used to just go out and have conversations with a stranger, who might be sitting at the table next to you because they overheard something funny, like, and not having this like kind of more standoffish vibe. So, I respect what you're trying to grow. I don't personally I wouldn't want a whole bunch of followers. I would want a writing community. I would want more of people that are going to challenge my way of thinking and help with adding different perspectives to situations. Like the whole point of having conversations with human is because you don't think like I think.
Yeah,
Maybe that's something that I need to help me continue to move forward. So having true writing communities, I think it would be a more beautiful thing, whether in real life or on a Zoom call or whatever it is. As long as you can see somebody's face and connect with somebody and spend time in an actual group that we all have a common theme. Like here's the prompt and let's hear what everybody has to say and like have something more open. I think is something that I would appreciate more. Followers are great, but just like on Substack, they don't do much. They they might read a note or two, but they're not maybe engaging in the same ways that maybe you and I are craving more of.
yeah, yeah. No, I agree. And it's you don't need that many, right? Like I think there are probably like maybe 10 people that I feel like consistently read my work and consistently comment, and even fewer that actually show up in the story space stuff. But it's still motivating me. Like, it's still motivating me to show up there, to create prompts, to just like spend the time curating that space, because um, kind of like, if you build it, they will come. And people have been trickling in, and I think that's the dream, right? To just have a true community. It doesn't have to even have to be a community of writers, like you say, but
Right.
just people that understand the importance of showing up together in the same space, even if it's virtual, but and communicating. I mean, I just think it's so important right now, and having conversations, and maybe having hard conversations.
Oh, I love the hard conversations, but I would challenge you to ask, what would you what would you show up if you built? Like I'm more of somebody that's now like creating something that is for me, and again, hoping that others will kind of join the wave if they feel like it. But I think I've spent so much time in my life, and it might be short to some, but so much time in my life worrying about what somebody else needed or what somebody else wanted or what somebody else felt like they deserved, and less about what did I need, what did I want, what did I deserve. So now I'm like, I'm going to build the damn thing that I needed, I wanted, I deserved, and I hope that it's also a place that other people feel connected to join, and that's all that I've ever really would want for Life Based and Rebirth. Is because community is important, and I think that we have, like I said, have gone very far away from what that looks like in real life. And it's very, to me, very performative on all social media platforms. I'm not going to just say on some. Like, I think all social media platforms is performative. And figuring out how to do what's best for you and what's most aligned to you and what makes you happy, I think brings in what you're also looking to call, right? Because what you
Yeah.
want or what you're looking for is also stuff that you have to provide to yourself.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea. And then it's very authentic. And then also, you don't feel like you're wasting your your
Well,
time,
because it's
because
something that you like,
you're
you
doing what?
need.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Like,
my friend.
yes. Well, I remember when we did our writing discovery session, or whatever we call it, story discovery session, and you talked about how like, you're Italian, and you had this like idea of like how important it was for you all to sit around the Sunday, or maybe it wasn't Sunday, but just around the dinner table, like that type of family community.
Right.
Um, so that's just like stuck in my mind, because it's such a visual image, right? Like, big Italian family sitting around, passing the
It's
fish.
pasta. You eat dinner at like 3 instead of 5 or 6. Like it's earlier. It's a big thing, and it was very well known as Italians gathered on Sundays, had pasta, and it was a big family gathering, and it is something that has stuck with me, not because I personally have always experienced that, but my grandmother and all she was one of 8 siblings, and they all gathered, and then they had then they married, and then they started having kids, so then it was just like this big thing, and then unfortunately, as life happens, my grandmother passes away, and then other people start you know not doing the same thing. So when it got to like me and my sister, we never really had big Sunday, but it was every day we sat down at a dinner table with my mom and my dad. Like that was expected as we were growing up. And I think, you know, as again, collective society, whatever word you want to say, a lot of us have gone away from those like little important things that matter. And I'll say it. As a kid, I didn't want to do it. Like, what the like? I don't want to fucking sit at the damn dining room table. I want to watch TV. Like, I want to sit. Why do we have these TV tables if I can't sit in the TV table and watch TV? Right? Like, well, I get that. And then now I'm 36, and me and my sister spend time at her dining room table, not watching TV. Like, it's a time. And when my dad comes over, like we all eat at the table and we eat together, and we don't spend. I used to hate it. My uncle would be like, "No phones at the table." And he would literally not let us have our phones at the table. And I was like, you know what? Now I'm like, I respect that. I appreciate that because yeah, it sucks. My nephew is 14. He's attached to his phone all the damn time, and I love when he does speak, but to get him to do that is difficult.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate something simple as meeting at a table, sitting down and having a conversation, even if it's just
Yeah.
for an hour, even if it is just with your family, whatever it is important. It helps, move things along in your life and your growth and stuff. So
Yeah, for sure. And I was thinking that that's kind of like that could be your hook, like the Sunday table. Or,
well,
you
remember,
know,
I had an idea to do a live where my co-host taught me how to make a dish, and that did I couldn't get that off the floor. I couldn't get people willing to go virtual with me and be like the chef teaching me how to make a meal that they make, like that's on their table. Because I think just why chefs do it is it's sharing stories and self through food, and to feed somebody is like the ultimate symbol of care. So it's just like I wanted to get to learn other people on this platform through food. And there are so many chefs and bakers and other types on this platform as well that share recipes and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, this should be like something cool. Plus, I would love to learn how to cook because I don't know how to do that. Right? Because that was the beginning of this. I didn't even know how to cook for myself. But losing my job required me to, well, you can't eat out every day now. So how are you gonna feed yourself? And then, I was like, I want to do this gathering table thing, and I couldn't get it off the floor. But it still, if you ever want to do a Zoom call and we all just cook together, let me know.
I mean, I think it's a really good idea, and I'm surprised that you couldn't find somebody that's actually a cook, to do it. I mean, it might be kind of awkward if it's something that takes a while to cook.
Right, you have to be mindful. Like this has got to be like a Rachel Ray 30 minutes or less. Like
Yeah,
we
it's
we're
got to
not
be
we're not
quick meal.
making full 4 course meals, but it's something because I again, and having conversations with my 93-year-old grandfather, he still cooks for himself, and I'm like, oh my god, for the rest of my life, 3 times a day, I have to feed myself for the rest of my life, and it's just like. For the rest of my life could be another 5 fucking decades. What do I like that much that I'm eating? So I felt like swapping recipes helps grow your life menu, because
Yeah,
sometimes it can get so boring. I get it. Food isn't supposed to be yummy. It's fuel, but like you should still enjoy what you're eating, or at least preparing it, because
yeah,
I think you can taste the difference, just like in writing. If you're writing from emotion, you can feel it when you read it. So no different.
yeah. No, and it is like when you learn how to cook something for someone else, oftentimes like it becomes part of your repertoire. Like I've learned some dishes from my sister, and then now I don't even use my recipe. I just make them and I add my own little touches. And now, so I have like a maybe 10 dishes or so that I can make that are in my repertoire that I don't need a menu or a recipe or anything like that. Right. And the more you learn recipes like that, the more you will, you know, kind of be a heart cook, not just like following recipes. And,
Right.
it takes time, but what I did want, because I do want to maybe get off in about 10 or 15 minutes because I have
Yep.
another meeting, but I would love to hear some of your writing. And so I thought maybe the two of us, we could both share a little bit of, things that things we're proud of that we've posted on Substack or haven't posted, whatever. I'm going to read something that I haven't posted. So, um, yeah, just to kind of cap off our show and show our readers and listeners kind of what we've been working on. And by the way, thanks again for everyone for joining in and some of you for participating. So both of us, I think, are going to do a little bit of reading here. And yeah, I'm just trying to see if there are any comments. Okay. Do you want to go first or you want me to?
Whichever you prefer, my friend.
No, why don't you go? It's fine. You go
All right.
first.
So, 2 months ago to the day, I wrote a post called I Treated Substack Like Every Relationship I've Ever Had. And I just thought it would be very fitting for this conversation. I didn't expect to lose myself here. But if I'm being honest, I didn't lose myself here. I repeated myself here. I treated Substack the same way I've treated most things in my life, especially relationships. I showed up ready to give, ready to prove, ready to be seen, chosen, valued. And without even realizing it, I started asking the same quiet questions I've always asked. What do I need to be for this to work? What do people want from me? How do I keep this? How do I grow this? And just like that, it stopped being mine. It became performance, adjustment, guessing, throwing things at the wall, hoping something would stick. All of it coming from one place. Somewhere in me, I don't fully trust what's real is enough. That's the part that stung because this was supposed to be different. This was supposed to be mine. And a bit over a year later, I felt it in my body the same way I've felt it in the relationships that drained me. Tired, disconnected, a little resentful. That kind of tired doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from overextending, from overthinking, from trying to make something land instead of letting it be real. I threw a lot at the wall: posts, notes, ideas, strategies. All of it wasn't mine. All of it wasn't me. It was me trying to figure out what would work. That realization hit harder than anything else because it forced me to look at something deeper. I don't fully trust myself. I move fast when fear is driving: fear of being overlooked, fear of staying stuck, fear that if I don't do more, I disappear. So I do more. And eventually I burn out on something that was supposed to feel like mine. That's the cycle, and I see it clearly now. At the same time, I've been telling the story of my life in a way that keeps me stuck. I zoom in on what's missing: the money I used to have, the stability I used to have, the life that blew up twice in 5 years. That version of my story leaves things out. I'm still here. I don't spend 8 to 10 hours a day pouring myself into something that drained me. I'm surviving even when it feels tight. I built something from nothing. Over 900 people chose to be here. Real people, real conversations. Every week, I sit down and talk to someone for an hour. That's something I didn't have before. That matters. I spend a lot of time looking at what I don't have. That's the same thing people have done to me. Overlook what's there, focus on what's missing. I see that now. I write what's real. I post when it feels right. I let it grow how it grows because I already know what it feels like to build something that works while losing myself in the process. I'm not doing that again. Author's note: I'm really proud of the human I continue to become, especially considering how I've been treated. I carry weight in this world because I'm different. I don't do surface level, I don't follow rules that were never made for me. I don't look like what I was told I was supposed to look like. I don't talk much about what it's like to move through the world this way as a masculine presenting lesbian. I act like it doesn't affect me. Truth is, every room I walk into, I feel it. I wonder who actually sees me and who already made up their mind about me. I did that here too. And maybe that's part of what this whole piece is really about. The end.
Thank you. Oh, that was really good. I don't know if I read that one. What the
It
heck?
was it was 2 months ago. You might have. I mean, I can look to see if you liked it.
I think I did. I probably did, but maybe I didn't read it closely enough, which brings up another point: how everyone just skims on Substack. But we won't get into that.
I mean,
Um,
I listened because you did like it, so you did read it. But
yeah,
if somebody has like the play button, I'll listen to it more than read it just because I have ADHD.
yeah. No, I agree. I agree. But I love that. I think you really show the progression of your time on Substack, but also just such a good insight into your character and who you made it so much broader, right? Like who your identity, and that's a lot of people can't really get to on Substack, or on anywhere, any platform, any writing, which is, I think, it's a testament to you. And one thing I think you're just so good at, unless it glaze you up or whatever you call it. Was that is that the new lingo? My son is 11, so I get all the lingo.
I mean, he
But
sounded like my nephew, so I was like, I don't really know those words.
yeah, it's when you're like overly,
I know, excited
building
about that
someone
again.
up. But I mean, I do think you're really good at that. Like you really have grown a lot, and I think you've um, one thing that makes it special is that you own it, but you own it in a way that is, still there's some level of humility. So that's great. But
Thank you. I mean,
so thank you.
I think it's important. I think it's necessary for people to have a little humility.
Yeah, for sure. But I think it's important that people see growth, right? They see change. They see somebody on the platform moving through change, moving through different writing styles, experimenting, showing who they really are. And that's important. Just as
Thank
important as hot takes.
you. Appreciate that.
Here's my hot take. Okay, so this is something I've never posted because I'm trying to get it published. So this is actually it's a three-part essay, really looking at like different. It's called Body Time, so it's looking at like how particularly a woman's body is kind of governed not by time like clock time, but by different elements of her body.
Mm.
And I'm just going to read the last section, which is about menopause. Where's this?
I'm intrigued because I feel like I'm getting closer and closer to premenopause, and I think having experiences well with communicating to older women has really helped identify some of the things that I can kind of be more aware of my own body. So I appreciate anybody that spends the time to talk about it because it's
Yeah.
not talked about enough.
No, I agree. So this is it. This is the whole thing is really dealing with kind of like the relationship between me and my son. So it starts when I had my son, when I gave birth to him. So the some of this section of the essay references that, um, but it's pretty self-contained. So it's called the threshold. For decades, I moved to the rhythm of my 28-day cycle. Each day had its own feel. 28 days repeated across 40 years, moon after moon. Now I thrash around, damp sheets, heat climbing up my neck like a slow burning fire, then exploding into my face, burn, sizzle, embers, waiting for the next surge. In the morning, I strip the sheets. The sweat stains are invisible, unlike blood. Blood barges in, viscous, dark, the overflow, the folded toilet paper, the ruined sheets, the clothes tied around my waist. Blood was ancient, animal, mine. She wasn't Aunt Flo. She was a mob boss I cursed, feared, hated, but took for granted for 40 years. Now the sheets are just damp. Periods and pregnancy were visible, monitored, shared, and plotted on a timeline everyone could read. Menopause has no such timeline. The heck? Oh. Milestones pass. Whoops. What's that here? In public, oh, sorry. Yeah. In public, I pass for young. My son and I share a face. If you look from him to me, maybe the young travels over. Except once at the oil change place, my son was hiding behind my legs. Oh, is this your grandson? I told everyone that story just to hear them say, no way. My uterus is retired, but I'm no grandma. I don't know what I am. The clipboard says your blood levels indicate menopausal stages. Where did Perry go? When does post start? Treatments arrive with warning labels or never at all. I wait for desire to return, the body that craved touch and gave it back. Where is that woman? But I am not old. I'm not young either. The looks, the smiles, the gaze I used to resent, even fear, gone now. My mind abandons me in the middle of sentences. You know that one thing that has a sharp edge, it cuts? A knife? My husband says, with a tinge of pity. But then I want to stab him with it for knowing the word. I don't remember. It feels like waiting in a hot and fucked up elevator to get off at old. The door's open. My son is approaching his own threshold. Puberty, tween, young man. His body begins its underground count towards its own heat. I am losing one season as he moves toward his first. Something passes between us, the relay. He sprints ahead, and I watch him go. He turns 11 this year, 11 candles flickering. One still standing after his eyes close, and he blows a wish into the dark. His eyes flashed open. A smile I didn't know the reason for. His wish was his own. And I didn't need to know. In the dusk, I watch him dart away from the new desire to be cool and towards the fireflies glittering in the gray, still chasing them around the corner and out of sight. My body does something it has forgotten how to do. It waits for him without terror, warm and humming, sure he will come back.
Now it makes me want to wish I could read the whole piece, but I hope you were able to get it published if that's what your goal is. And
Yes, I am. I'm still waiting for some.
I love the humor. I love the humor in it. I think it helps, balance out what you're talking about and adding that touch to it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Well,
mean,
the whole thing is really about like, yeah, like I said, the kind of thing between my son and I. Like it starts when I have him in the whole like I was labeled geriatric pregnancy and all of that, and then I had postpartum anxiety, so there was like a lot of that in the middle section. So, but yeah, once it gets published, and it will be published, I'll post it on Substack.
amen
So
to that. Amen
yes,
to that.
yes, I worked on it pretty hard, so I think it will. But yeah, so maybe just we'll finish off here. Maybe let's talk about let's end on a high note, a positive thing. So what kind of advice would we give a new writer or a new person just entering in and really wanting to share themselves on Substack or any platform, any online writing? What would you say to that person?
Remember why you're writing, and remember that whatever you're utilizing is a tool. It is not the end game. It is not the savior of all. So I think when writers can remember their why, it makes writing fun and what it's supposed to be. I think um, the people that have been able to monetize and be successful on Substack is great for them. I also think a lot of them come from many years and have already followers, or to crazy or not, I think when people have a full time job and then do this as like the thing that they like to do and it's not the thing that they need the money to do, they actually do well with the money part of it. So I think again, if you're trying to monetize your publication, I think just stay true to your why and have faith that it'll happen when it's supposed to happen. Um, and utilize it as a tool. It is a great resource to network and connect and evolve your own writing by reading other people. Obviously, the platform encourages people to read too. So make sure that that's a part of um, your routine within it. But I don't have any like tips or tricks of how to be successful on Substack. All I could say is remember your why and stay true to your why.
Yes, no hacks. Yeah, and I agree. Just it's a, think about the long game. I would add as to everything you said. Yeah, remember why and stay balanced. Like if you need to take a break from it, take a break. Like you don't need to feel guilty. You don't need to feel like, oh, the algorithm's going to leave me behind.
I mean,
And
it will, but it
yeah,
doesn't mean it won't pick you
definitely
back up, right? So
will.
like that understanding of like you can jump on the wave whenever you want to, right?
Yeah,
Like
I agree.
you can walk into the ocean whenever you want to. So it's to your point, remembering that it's okay to breathe and take space if needed. I think anything that has a lot of instant validation could become more toxic to a human's mental space, because when that kind of stops or slow downs or comes to a halt, then you start questioning your home value, and that's not the point of the space. The point of the space is to create and share and build a community or be a part of a community that continues to help you become a better version of you. Like I wish more people spent more time understanding why they're doing something or why they're being a part of something or why they're attracted to a certain post or a piece or a writer or whatever the case might be, because it's probably going to help you in your own evolution.
Yeah,
So, you know,
I agree. And we do need to spend more time. Like, hey, wait a minute, backtrack. Why am I even doing this? Because I think sometimes we think we know the answer to the question, right? Oh, obviously I have a memoir coming out. I need people, like I need to have a platform. But the reason, the why that I had initially is not the why that I've continued, So your reason evolves too. And yeah, I think that's really
then you have
important.
to be open to that too. Like, I might have started it like for me, the same thing, right? I started it because I needed a place to just throw words on a page, so I can navigate through the turmoil and grief that I was going through. But then it changed. I was like, well, wait, no, I'd rather provide reflections from a scar than the wound, and hopefully that it helps somebody else if they're also in that season, kind of walk their way through it too. I think perspective is an undervalued resource in this world, and I think having conversations help people either with the right open mind expand their perspective on something, which then can, like I said, hopefully help them get to where they're trying to go
Yeah.
in their own evolution.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll wrap up. Why don't you just tell everyone like where they can find you and what your next thing is? I think you have another live coming up today, don't you?
I do. I have an inner room episode with the amazing Amber's Healing. She was on the earlier version of this. I don't know if she's still here. At 3:15 Eastern Standard Time. Um, you can find Life Quakes and Rebirth here on Substack. And you can find any and all, well, most all. I haven't gotten the whole archive from Substack to YouTube, but the Inner Room Pod. Um, on YouTube, you can find any of those conversations if you're interested. And me and Michelle have at least one on there. If not, we'll have 3 in total, but
Yeah.
at least one I know for sure is on there. Oh, Amber is here, so thank you for
Oh,
joining, Amber. But
we'll
yeah,
be
she'll
talking
she'll
to
be
you.
with
We'll be talking to you later, Amber.
she'll be chatting with me at 3:15 Eastern Standard Time if you guys are interested.
Cool. And then those podcasts, are they also on like the podcast venues, whatever they are?
Yeah, so if you prefer listening to podcasts instead of
Oh
watching me
yeah,
and my
because you're listening.
co-host,
Yeah.
yeah, so you can find them on Spotify, Pocket Cast, and Apple Podcast. If you prefer the listening part, I mean, some do. Some like to see the visual. So if you like the visual, Substack and YouTube, Spotify, Pocket Cast, Apple Podcasts is where you'll find the podcast on those if you want
Yeah.
to just listen.
Lots of ways to listen, watch, be with the inner room, be in the
And
inner room even.
yeah, you could be a part of it. I mean, I definitely uh expect and hope for DMs in the future of people being like, "Hey, I want to do this with you," because that makes my life easier when coming up with the schedule for stuff. But
Yeah.
uh, I for before we say goodbye, just again, thank you so much for inviting me into your space and spending time with me talking about things that I think sometimes would make some other people uncomfortable. So I very much appreciate you, my friend.
Yes. Yeah, I appreciate you and thank you for coming on. But yeah, I mean I've been on your show 3 times, I think. Or
Yep.
twice at least. No,
No,
three times. Three
you've been on three
times.
times.
And
You've been
I
on
would
three times.
recommend it. I would recommend it. I mean, yeah, Marlena's a really good co-host, and it's always lively and interesting. You usually have a really good um, crowd, and you're really good at bringing people into to the conversation. So again, I'm Michelle Ray, and my Substack is called States of Matter, and my writing community is called the Story Space. And I'm actually we're having a story brunch on Sunday. So every month at the end of the month, we have just a big gathering where we read and we do some writing. And so jump on board with that. You can DM me or you can look at my Substack for more. And I also started another Substack based on like some feelings I've been having this month. Some certain feelings very similar to what we've been talking about, of just like wanting to post without worrying about it, and kind of, but also wanting us like it to be a little separate from my Substack. So I started by Michelle Ray, and I'm just posting like random things. I'm calling it a public notebook. So far, I've just published a couple.
How did I not know that?
Yeah, because no
How did
one's
I not know that?
no one's seen
How
it
did I
because
not know that?
I'm not promoting it. It's a Substack. It's called by Michelle Ray. I think I did cross post my last one just because I was like, well, people might want to at least know it's out there. But the
Well,
whole
we know
point
now,
is,
and I'm going.
yeah, the whole point is to just have something to just you know throw out there. Just kind of like you were talking about at the beginning, where you just were like more writing. Um, Whatever, like what was on your mind, more
It
of
just
the
it was definitely diary style for me,
yeah.
100%. So
Yeah, and it's not necessarily a diary. I'm calling it a public notebook where I just experiment and just write random things that aren't necessarily finished, but just like things I want to put out and not have things that are curated, because things that I post often like they're heavily curated. Like they're either from my memoir, which everything in my memoir has been rewritten like 14 times. And it's been edited by a professional editor, so I mean that's heavily written. And then even things that I just write for the purpose of the Substack, I write and I rewrite. And so it's just that's just who I am. Like I can't be one of those like just throw it out there. So
but I'm
I
glad that you are creating the space that you can learn how to do that.
yes,
Like
yeah,
I think that could be very healthy for you. And
yes,
I'm excited to see what kind of happens to it in like 6 months.
yeah, yeah, I agree. Knowing with my luck that will be the bestseller, right? With
I
States of
mean,
Matter. My States of Matter
that's
will
what I
just
was
be my
kind of hinting at.
confession.
Like but that's what I was kind of hinting at. Like sometimes what we don't over polish and articulate is sometimes the things that resonate the most with other humans, because I think that makes us more human to our readers. So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that with me. I'd already subscribed and recommended. Sorry,
Oh,
but I'm just like I now I look forward to reading this other side of you, and I think this is a cool thing that you decided to do for yourself. So great job.
yeah. So that, yeah, and I did. I felt like just like a sigh of relief when I did that. So yeah, it was good. And then the other thing I do is like I do have a paid version of my Substack, and really the big I guess perks are the Sunday writing brunches. And then I also do these story discovery sessions. So there's like a one on one where I chat with you. I kind of question different things that you, different ideas that you have about your past that could be like a story that is helping you connect with your readers or helping you build trust with your readers or anything like that. So if you're interested in that, just have a look at my Substack. But
As somebody who participated in one of those, I can highly recommend that. It is great to hear Michelle's perspective and the things that you may be mowing over and trying to figure out when it comes to what you're trying to get published in like a book type of setting. So I
yeah,
highly encourage people to utilize the resource that is Michelle Ray. Okay, thanks. She's
yes,
not because
and
she's
I
not
highly,
saying she's been a teacher her whole life. So like if
yeah,
anybody can help with things, it is somebody who is used to teaching people things. So come on.
yeah. And I wanted to direct people to your post that you wrote, kind of not necessarily based on what we talked about, but really like your grandfather post.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because she,
Invisible inheritance. So I have a little vignette started because I basically have vignettes of a book concept between me and conversations between me and my grandfather, and I have posted the coffee spoon and the invisible inheritance so far, that are little vignettes from what could possibly equal a book down the line in the future. So if
yeah,
anybody is interested in those are very short, fun reflections for me.
yes, yes, and I really remember the coffee spoon.
Yeah,
That
because
stood to me.
well, again, like being able to write something that people can hear was
Yeah,
the coolest thing that I think I could have done with that post.
yeah, yeah. It reminded me of my grandma too because she drank black coffee with sugar, right? So she was always like restirring to like get the sugar kind of in there, and yeah, it was just like my grandma.
But that literally is why I feel so compelled to write it, because it's not just a book about me and my grandfather and my family story. I think it would definitely help people remember and connect to versions, different people in their family, I would want it to encourage people to have relationships within their family, whether it's grandparents, aunts, cousins, whoever it is. If you were grateful to have somebody in your life that you can call a family member, spend some time getting to know them.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I think people from our well, I guess you're younger than me, but um, I think people, let's say our grandparents, from people from the like greatest generation or whatever their generation was, they are so tight-lipped. Like they don't share the way we share, right? But they have amazing stories. My grandmother has passed now, but I know a little bit about her story and it's unbelievable, right? But she never shared anything. She was so tight-lipped, and that's just how she was raised, and that's the world that she lived in. You don't talk about your problems, you don't talk about um trauma or anything like that. You just keep moving.
I mean,
So,
I'm glad that you called that out, because that's one part of that generation that I empathize the most with, is that they were really told that, like, no, you don't air your dirt, you don't share your shit, you deal with it inside, or it's a family thing, only family knows. But real quick, Charlene said, I gather that your grandfather meant a lot to you, and I just want to clarify, he just turned 93, so he is still
I'm still
with
alive.
us. He's still with us, and I still have an opportunity to continue to pick his brain, because he is the last living person that is connected to my grandmother that I never got to know, um, and her entire family, that most of them have passed on. So he knows all of them. So he does have all of the family stories. It is now, because of his age, not the fact that he's tight-lipped, but how much he still can remember.
Yeah,
That's the only kind of hard part about this at this point in his life, is he's shared a lot of what he can remember, and then sometimes he'll say the same story, or he'll say the same story with now it's different, and it's just like, okay, like I need to try to compose something that makes sense, that might be as true to what he can remember right now.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's beyond a writing project, right? It's something that's it's like a real legacy for your family. So definitely, I know you'll keep working at it, but it
Yeah.
seems very important. So, all right. Well, thank you so much. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. And I appreciate everyone who joined. Sorry about the weird brick situation.
Well, now everybody knows it works. If you want less time, screen time, buy a brick.
Yes, brick your phone, and then it'll screw up your live sessions because you're so technically inept.
You're
But
fine. This was
okay,
amazing. Thank you for having me, my
all right.
friend.
Well, take care. Thank you, everyone.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.